Association. I'm happy to be joined with Carlos Lopez from the Vitamin Shop. Carlos is the Vice President and General Counsel. Carlos, thank you very much for your time today.
Hi, Mike. How are you? Nice to be here.
Good, good. I'm good. Let's jump into some questions about the industry, if you don't mind. First of all, what are some of the top challenges facing the dietary supplement industry today?
I think one of the top challenges facing retailers in the industry in particular is this trend towards restricting access to so-called weight loss and muscle building supplements. And in fact, New York just became the first state in the country to enact one of these laws. And make no mistake about it, it's a bad law. It's a bad law for retailers, for consumers, and for the industry as a whole. And my concern is that it won't stop at New York, that we have other states that will follow suit. The laws are bad for a few reasons. First, just philosophically, they stigmatize all of us. It's ironic that we live in a country where millions of people are dying and getting sick from diseases of inactivity, not exercising enough, not getting enough activity in your life. Yet we have lawmakers who are stigmatizing people who want access to products that help them be more active and be more healthy. People shouldn't be stigmatized or punished for that. If anything, lawmakers should be encouraging that type of behavior.
Sure.
Second, the laws are bad because they don't have a scientific basis. Lawmakers are acting on a theory that there's some relationship between disordered eating among teens and dietary supplements. But there's no evidence of that. It's just pure politics, and it's hurting everyone as a result. And third, they're bad for a whole host of practical reasons. They're inconvenient. So if you are a supplement customer in New York going forward, you can't just stop into your local Vitamin Shop store. You need to make sure you have your ID on you. Because if you look younger than, let's say, 30 years old, you might be carded when trying to buy your supplements. And if you are ordering product to come to your home in New York, regardless of your age, you're going to have to make sure that you're home to sign for that package and that you show your ID to the delivery driver. So that is obviously a hassle that nobody wants to deal with. And that's not limited to your age. That's regardless of your age, you're going to have to go through that process. And the laws are expensive, right? So shipping via a method that requires signature and proof of age is more expensive, and consumers are going to have to pay that. And then finally, they're bad because they're not clear about what's covered. The law doesn't actually tell you which specific products are covered. It only says products that are marketed or labeled for weight loss or muscle building. So retailers are going to have to figure out for themselves what that means. And there's going to be inconsistencies from store to store, which will make the marketplace confusing for consumers.
Yeah, those are some real challenges for sure, Carlos. Thanks for outlining those. So what do we do as an industry? What are some steps? What are some actions to overcome these challenges that we're facing today?
That's a great question. And I think here's where organizations like NPA are critical. The first thing that we need is broader awareness within the industry itself about what's going on in the public policy sphere. We all sort of are siloed in our companies. We're doing our work. We're trying to service our customers. We don't have a lot of time to pay attention to what's happening in Albany or Trenton or any other state capital, or even what the FDA is up to these days. But NPA does, right? That's what NPA focuses on.
Sure,
they monitor all the state capitals. They monitor what's going on in Washington, and they keep all of us appraised of it. So I think that's step one. If you're in this industry, you should be a member of NPA. You should be a member of a trade group, and you should be active in that group. Don't just get the emails and delete them, right? We all get our inboxes cluttered up, but pay attention, come to the meetings, focus on what is happening that impacts the industry. And then NPA also provides a forum for us to, now we know what's going on. So now we can talk about it, and we can figure out collectively what action should we take? Which policies do we support, for example? So maybe we get behind those and we bring better awareness to those policies. Which ones do we think are bad? And how do we sort of fight those and make sure consumers are aware that those are bad for them as well? So again, I think overcoming it starts with working together through an organization like NPA.
No, that's great, Carlos. Thank you very much. And maybe just expanding on that point a little bit around the Natural Product Association, what for you and your company, what value does NPA bring to the Vitamin Shop?
Well, as I'm sure we've all heard many times when Dan gives his speech, NPA is the oldest and largest trade association. And we find at the Vitamin Shop that it brings tremendous value. As I said, without NPA, we would feel isolated from what's happening in the public policy world. We would see maybe a few news articles in the press, and that might be interesting. That might be something that gets circulated among executives in the company, but we wouldn't have a mechanism of action. And what NPA does for us is it not only presents the issues to us, but it charts out a path of here's what we can do about this, and here's what we can do together. And that's invaluable.
No, that's great. That's great, Carlos. Thank you very much for that. And this is a tough question here, but what does the future hold for the industry? If you're looking out on the horizon, what's coming next? What's coming next for the industry?
I think there's two ways to look at it. From the business side, I think the future is bright. People are more interested in their own health and wellness than ever before. And there's a lot that goes into that, obviously. There's exercise, there's sleep, there's nutrition, there's mental well-being. But supplements are a part of that for a lot of people. And as long as that remains true, and I don't see it changing, because once people start living a healthy lifestyle, that they're not inclined to go back. So as long as that remains true, then the industry has a lot of room for growth, a lot of new consumers that will start trying out our products. On the other side, on the regulatory side, I think there's a lot of cause for concern. Start with FDA. FDA seems confused about how to regulate the industry. There's even some confusion about whether FDA wants to continue to regulate the industry. And so there's a void that's been created, and that's been for years. And states are jumping in to fill that void. But the states don't necessarily have the expertise to regulate properly in the space. And they don't necessarily coordinate with each other. So you can end up with bad policy that's conflicting with policy in other states. And if you're a multi-state retailer like the Vitamin Shoppe, that is really a tight spot to be in, because how can you sell the same product in different states if the rules are different? So I think there's a lot to be concerned on, and even more reason that companies need to be paying attention and be active on the regulatory side.
No, those are great points, Carlos. Thank you very much. Some good news, and then potentially some challenges, of course. And then last question I have is, why is the Vitamin Shoppe and yourself a member of NPA?
Another good question. So I think the main purpose for me of NPA is that it's a mechanism for collective action. It's a forum where we can all get together, understand what's on the agenda and how that impacts each of our companies together, and what we can do about it. As I said, nobody working in a supplements company has unlimited amounts of time to pay attention to politics, but we all have some time. And NPA helps bridge that gap. They can be the ones who are full-time devoted to understanding these issues and giving us a way to work together on those issues. Plus, honestly, Dan and team are just extraordinarily knowledgeable. They're extraordinarily helpful. If I have a question or I need help with something, I know that one phone call, one email, and I will get a response right away and feel better about whatever's going on.
No, that's great. Thank you very much for that. So, Carlos, really, a lot going on with the Vitamin Shoppe and in the supplement world today. So thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for your very direct and honest answer. So appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much.